Hey there guys, and welcome back to the channel. So, Lord of the Rings of Power Season 2 is finally here on Prime Video. The first 3 episodes debuting today. I have not seen them yet, but I'm planning to watch them this evening. Could not be more excited. Yeah, I know there was a lot of disappointment with the first season of the Rings of Power. There were some good points to be found within that show, and I believe it had a solid foundation, but ultimately it fell flat, and there were a lot of fans that were very disappointed. But based on the reviews that I've seen so far, it sounds like Season 2 is definitely a step up from the first season. So let's jump into these reviews over on RottenTomatoes.com, and let's see what the outlets have to say about the Rings of Power Season 2. So, landing over here on Rotten Tomatoes, let's go down and check the tomato meter for Rings of Power Season 2, and then let's dive into the individual reviews and see what the outlets are saying. So, starting off here, 86% tomato meter from 42 reviews. There's no audience reviews as of yet, but I will update the channel in due course, guys, obviously when that comes online. But 86% from 42 reviews is pretty impressive to start off with. That score could fluctuate in the next few days as more reviews come in. It could go down, it could go up, but 86% is pretty damn impressive to start with. So let's dive into these individual reviews and let's see what these outlets are saying. So for this video, we're going to look at the top critics just to get a kind of overall sample size and see what people are saying about it. So starting off here, James Jackson from The Times. Yeah, it can feel like a series almost drunk on its budget. Yeah, budget of $1 billion, which is still crazy. And running time, there is still the intimate twisted dance of Sauron and Celebrimbor. Edwards really is superb here. Yeah, that's what we want to see. We want to see more in-depth kind of backstory and kind of what's going on with Sauron. That's what a lot of people are looking forward to in Season 2. So, Glenn Weldon from NPR. The Lord of the Rings of Power may not be everything we hoped it would be. How could it be? But for now, it's enough. So, it's saying it could be better, it could be worse, but at the moment, it's enough. We'll take what we can get. It's Lord of the Rings, so, you know, plump me down on the couch. I'm happy with that. That sounds like what this guy's saying anyway. So, from Kaya, I can't even pronounce that, so I'm not going to try, RogerEbert.com. While there will likely be some pushback for fans of the original film trilogy and Tolkien's written book, this is undeniably the most striking fantasy show of the year. That's big words considering we've had Shogun come out and we've had The House of Dragon as well. So, I mean, that's a pretty big statement there. But if that's true, if it stands up to that statement, then I'm all the more excited to jump into this show. So, from Keith Phipps from the TV Guide. Sometimes frustrating, but just as often rewarding. The Lord of the Rings of Power hasn't reinvented itself in the second season, opting instead to turn up the intensity on everything it was already doing. That sounds good though. I mean, like it says here, it's a step up to Season 2. The intensity has been dialed up, which I think is exactly what they needed to do. There was the solid foundations in Season 1, but it was a little bit, you know, a little bit somber, a little bit lacking in some spaces. Turn up that intensity, make it a bit more urgent, and I think we've got a winner. So, moving on to Chase Hutchison from the Seattle Times. Though it's still troubled by some of the shallowness that preceded it, often falling flat in episodes dedicated to some of the more thinly written characters, it's a rather welcome step up. Again, another reviewer here saying a step up from the Season 1, and that's all we can ask for. Hopefully, we go into Season 3 and it improves again. Season 4 improves on that. And then hopefully, we end up with a really, really good show. Although, it would have been nice to start off with a good show in the first place. But sometimes, more often than not, the first season of a TV show will be the kind of experimental phase where they're finding their feet. And then from Season 2 onwards, the show kind of finds its footing. And hopefully it just gets better from this point onwards. But the fact that it says it's a rather welcome step up, that's great to hear. So, Helen O'Hara from Empire Magazine. Lavishly made, endlessly beautiful to watch. The first season, man. Say what you want, whether you liked it or not. The CGI, the landscapes, the costume, the art direction, everything was just so gorgeous to look at. And substantial enough to make you care. This is fantasy at its absolute highest level. That gets me excited. Fantasy at its absolute highest level. Bring it on, take my money, I'm there for it. So, Ben Travis from IndieWire. Not everyone leaps off the screen, and a few nuanced emotional beats could have been portrayed with richer specificity, but the Rings of Power does take advantage of TV's mightiest weapon for building empathy, interest, and overall investment. That is time. yeah, I mean, it does take time to, get invested in characters, locations, and story beats. And that's exactly the one thing that a TV show has over a movie. We have more time, we have more kind of character to develop over a series rather than in a 2-hour movie. So time is on the side. So we do have a splat here from Variety. It looks like Variety didn't like this. The Rings of Power finally has the faintest hints of narrative momentum. Whoa. So Variety really didn't like this. But the second installment of the show, as gorgeous yet flat as a kitchen backsplash, has the same problems as the first. Minus much confidence these issues will ever go away. So the second installment of the show, as gorgeous yet flat as a kitchen backsplash, The Rings of Power has the faintest hints of narrative momentum. So yeah, the person who reviewed it for Variety, they really didn't like it. They didn't like the narrative, and they're saying it has all the issues that the first season did. So that's not good to hear. We have another splat here from Nick Hilton of The Independent. The result is like being on a mirthless roller coaster ride, thrown around, spun upside down, but always wondering where the fun is supposed to kick in. That's I mean, that's not good to hear whatsoever. So it sounds like they're kind of pulling you all over the place in this series. There's a lot of different kind of factors going on, but ultimately the fun never kicks in. So that's not good to hear whatsoever. Fiona Sturgis from the Financial Times. This season brings a better balance of talk and action, and there is levity, if not actual laughs, provided by the proto-Hobbit Harfoots. Yeah, that was one of the biggest disappointments of the first season. We spent so much time with the Harfoots when we had more important story beats to get to, and it felt like we were wasting time on the Harfoots. So I'm hoping that in the second season they've cut down on the Harfoots, or at least give them some sort of meaningful narrative this time, because they didn't come off very well in the first season. So, for Bob Strauss, The Wrap. It's an immersive vacation to Middle-earth, but one that feels confined to a package tour agenda. Maybe we'll actually get into the place and its various people beings next season. Maybe we'll actually get into the place and its various people and beings next season. So it's saying that it's an exploration of Middle-earth, but it's very confined, very small. You don't see all of the stuff that we should be seeing. It's very confined. It's like an exclusive tour that only takes you on a beaten path. And you don't get to kind of explore off the beaten path. I understand what it's saying from a tour perspective there. So from Michael Adaito, I think that's how you say it. I apologise if I'm butchering that. Sydney Morning Herald. In a sense, the show begins to deliver on the payoff due to the audience. Not the whole loan plus interest, but enough that the initially intriguing story lurches into something more compelling. So it's saying not the whole loan plus interest, but enough the initially intriguing story lunges into something more compelling. So it's saying that as the story goes along, it becomes more and more compelling as it develops, which is great to hear. Maddie Musin from the London Evening Standard. Sounds like a lot of storylines, right? That's because it is. And some of them are absolutely captivating. It's a treat to see Saruman in human or lying elf form on screen. And Charlie Vickers is wonderfully menacing. Well, yeah, that's what you need to do. You know, Sauron, he's one of the big bads of the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Lord of the Rings stories, not trilogy, I should say. And he has to come off menacing. He has to bring that gravitas. He has to be scary. Or ultimately Sauron's just going to fall flat. And then the whole show kind of falls apart. So we've got two more here, guys. From the Hollywood Reporter, we have a splat. Falls prey to one of the most common afflictions of its kind. It starts to feel like a story shaped backwards from events we already know. Will need to transpire rather than one driven forward by the motives and choices of its character. So it sounds like it's a back-engineered story that is kind of, we know the story beats that happen in the future, and it feels like it's kind of playing backwards. I understand what this reviewer is saying. That doesn't sound good, but I can understand from her point of view, but I don't think I'm going to see it the same way when I watch it. So, TV shows are subjective, so maybe this person saw it in a different way, but I don't think I'm going to have the same experience. Hopefully not, anyway. So, from Nick Schaefer, The Daily Beast, this is the last one here, guys. Remains a worthy backstory complement to Peter Jackson's Oscar-winning cinematic trilogy. Remains a worthy backstory complement to Peter Jackson's Oscar-winning cinematic trilogy. That there is big words to end this on. It's complimenting and worthy of that cinematic trilogy that is perhaps, you know, the biggest trilogy in cinematic history. It won the most amount of Oscars of any film franchise, I think, so far. So that's big words. But yeah, guys, so there we are. There's some mixed reactions in there. The Wrap and, The Wrap what was the two? The Wrap, Variety, and Hollywood Reporter. They're the three that didn't like it, but the rest, they seem to be on board with it. They seem to be saying it's a step up from the first season, which is exactly what I wanted. And there we are, guys. So guys, with that down, what did you think about the Rotten Tomatoes reviews here for the Rings of Power Season 2? Did it get you more excited, or did the negative reviews put you off from watching the show? Whatever your thoughts are, jump down into the comment section and let me know, guys. Are you going to be watching the first 3 episodes over the course of the weekend? Cannot wait to hear your thoughts, comments and opinions. As always, thanks so much for watching. Hit that like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.